Hey everybody, this is Ro with Rose Wigglers LLC. Some of you know me by now. This is my very first video and I am not a tech savvy person, so please be patient and any advice is always welcome. I am down in my basement, aka my wormery. Super, super fancy, I know. And today I wanted to show you how I set up bedding, new bedding for my breeder bins. Now this is something that on a home scale for a small worm bin, you can do the same thing. You can set up your bedding in this way, but a lot of people just start with shredded cardboard and things like that. I'm kind of leveling it up a little bit because I'm fancy like that. So let me show you what I got going on. So hopefully this is showing one of my bins. This is just a shallow mortar tray bin here that I have set up. And basically what I have in here right now is just some almost finished compost. And you'll see it kind of looks a lot just like potting soil. And that is because I partner with a local microgreens grower, and basically a good amount of the carbon material that we use in our compost bins is they're finished off, basically the roots and the leftover little bits of microgreens after they've harvested. They give me the rest of their soil, and that is a really, really amazing sustainability partnership that I have going. This is a really nice moisture level that we've got here. You see you've got some bits that aren't broken down yet. That's fine. The worms are going to go to town on this once they get to go into this bin. There's currently no worms in here. I'm getting this set up for the next round whenever I do some sifting and um, separate my current worms that are in my breeder bins. Oh, here's one that snuck in. Look at you. You got a new home now. So I'll be separating some of the current worms, the adult mature worms that are currently breeding in some other bins from all of their eggs, their cocoons, so that those cocoons can hatch in this new bin, and this will become my nursery bin for the little babies to hatch and grow up and mature in here so that they're separate from the adult worms. So here's our compost, and here's a few of the things that I like to add just to really level up and get my new bin started. So this is already full of all kinds of microbial life, tons of microorganisms, bacteria, and fungi that are working to break down this material. That's really what we want to be seeing right now. But then I'm going to level it up. So the first thing that I'm going to add into my bin is just, kind of a handful. I tell people I don't bake because it's too specific with measurements and things like that. But here's a handful. This is called azomite. And what azomite is really, really well blended up powdered um, minerals. And this is often used to remineralize your soil. It has a ton of minerals that will have been, if you have a home garden and you have fruits and vegetables, they are pulling the minerals up into those things and out of the soil into your food, which is what you want, but then you want to replace it. In the case of the worm bin specifically, though, I'm adding this to add some grit to the bin because worms are like chickens and they have a little gizzard, and their gizzard kind of acts like teeth. They don't have teeth, and it helps them to digest and break down their food. So adding this into your bin gives them that grit that they need. Oftentimes when I'm feeding, what I'll use is blended up eggshells, but to start it off, I'll use some azomite. Another thing that I add for grit is this here, a small amount of this. This is dolomite lime, and so this is a food grade, agricultural grade lime, which also is going to add grit and calcium and will help to keep the pH balanced in the bin so it doesn't become too acidic for your worms. Now again, I was doing worms for 7 years before I ever started adding lime, and it wasn't a problem, so if you don't have it around, don't panic. But I have found that it has helped quite a bit with the pH in my bin. I've seen less mites. Some mites are a good thing. They're also part of nature's decomposers, and I'll talk about that in a different video. But this is going to really help keep things balanced in my bin and get us set up for a strong start. So get this mixed in here. Wonderful. And then the last thing I'm going to add today, just to get this ready, is some kelp meal. And I really, really like kelp meal because it's easy to use, it's fairly inexpensive, and it adds a little bit of nitrogen to my bin, which will feed the worms and help things break down. It also adds a lot of micronutrients that you don't find in a lot of your other organic fertilizers. So I like to add this in, which just really kind of kickstarts the bin, gets things really going, ensures that we have a little bit of a balanced amount of food throughout this bedding, which will encourage the worms to continue to break down the bedding, especially, as they finish off each round of their regular feedings that I give them. And so that's it. I have this bin set up now and ready, and so whenever I harvest my cocoons and worm castings from my breeder bins in a couple of weeks, which I do every 21 days, all of my cocoons and any baby worms that I find will go into this bin, and they will grow out and mature from there. The only last thing that I do is I put a piece of plastic of some sort. Right now I have a food bag right over the top, and this just helps to keep the moisture in the bin, which helps support the microbial life, all that biology and things that I want to stay alive in this bin. I don't want it to fully dry out. So this helps keep that moisture in there so I don't have to water it nearly as often. So thank you for watching my very first ever video. If you like it, please do subscribe, click the bell, click the like button, and send me any questions or any other recommendations or ideas that you would like to hear me talk about in the comments. And I'm excited to go on this adventure with you. Thanks, y'all.